welcome to Mike Drops the Mic. I'm Mike Lineman. Today, I'm being joined by model, actor, social media influencer, fitness coach, Eric Guilmette. Eric, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Michael. How are you doing?
Oh, doing amazing, man. So you started off as a model, correct?
Ye- well, I started off as like a baby, and then no, no, yeah, I started, I guess, from where a lot of people know me from. I started with a fitness background, and then that transitioned into being a fitness model, and then fashion, lifestyle, everything else model, and actor, and everything else has kind of come after that.
So how old were you when you got that started?
Well, so I had been fitness coaching for about 6 years now at this point. And before this, or I guess I should say after that, I started competing in, bodybuilding shows and physique shows. And then I actually made the switch to being a like I was doing part-time fitness modeling at that point. But then I made the switch to become a full-time model about 2 years ago, actually, not that long ago.
Okay.
So it's been a crazy journey for the last 2 years.
Yeah, okay. So tell me about the physique competitions and stuff like that. Was it how did you get involved with that? Obviously, stay in good shape and stuff like that, but what was the passion that made you decide to go into that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was playing hockey my entire life, and I played hockey freshman year in college, and then sophomore year I quit, and I needed a way to stay competitive with myself. And so I started lifting more. I started taking fitness uh, more seriously, and just one thing led to another. And someone was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about competing?" And I was like, "No, tell me about it." And I did a show. I looked horrible, but I looked horrible for physique competition standards. And then after that, I really kind of put my energy into that field and that sector, and it just went really well. And then I started. I've only competed in natural federations as a pro. So I competed in natural federation, won a physique show. I turned pro, and then WNBF, which is a natural federation, and won a pro physique show. And then I competed all the way up until August 2019. And that was around the time that I actually decided to become a full-time model. And I realized I was too big. So I had agents and people in the modeling world tell me, hey, you need to lose some size to become more marketable as a model. And I did that. And here we are.
So how did your workouts change when you're going from physique? Obviously, you're trying to bulk up and stay toned still, and the model look, they want you chiseled, looking toned. How did your workouts change from going from the physique competition to getting more into that modeling industry?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to say I started lifting less, but I changed my split a little bit. When you're a bodybuilder, you always kind of do like a 1 to 2 muscle split where you do like, legs one day and then chest the next day, back, blah blah blah. And then I started just kind of going upper lower split. And I started purposefully just eating at like a maintenance level calories. I wasn't trying to bulk and I wasn't trying to cut. I was trying to maintain. And eventually that's kind of fizzled out to, I lost about 10 to 15 pounds. And I didn't like add a bunch of cardio or anything like that or anything crazy, but just small modifications that over the course of a year and a half made a big impact.
So now that you're going upper body one day, lower body next day, and you alternate back and forth, is that 6 days a week then and take a day off, or what does that look like? What's the average week look like?
Man, my schedule is all over the place. So the average week for me is never average because I don't have an average week. I'm never in one place for more than 2 weeks at a time, and especially right now, I'm filming a movie, and that's taking up all of my time. So I'm really all over the place, and my workout schedule is I work out when I can, and if I feel fresh on an upper body day, I'll hit upper. If I feel more fresh on a lower body day, I'll hit lower. And it really came down to the point of me understanding my body to make those modifications and really knowing how my body operates, how like what my body prefers, and having gone through that experience for 8 years now of lifting. I'm really in tune with my body, so I know like, hey, even if I have to prepare for a shoot that's in 3 days and I need to tighten up a little bit, I'll make modification X, Y, and Z, and I'll be ready.
So when maybe the modeling with the job they want you to do, whether that's an acting job or a modeling job. They tell you in advance, hey, we need you to bulk up just a little bit more. Hey, we want a little more chiseled, toned. I'm assuming you make modifications in your workout and your diet, correct?
Yeah, I mean, like for the most part, I haven't had any production like rush call me like 3 days before and be like, "Hey, we need you to lose some pounds, or we need you to
Yeah.
like, come in a little more muscular." That really doesn't. I mean, most of them just understand. All right, I'm gonna come in and look pretty aesthetic. I don't ever show up to anything looking like, like I haven't worked out in 2 months. I show up to everything looking pretty, and then that's the thing. That's what I like about having a model body is like I'm just maintaining my physique, and I'm not constantly in that cycle of, oh, I'm bulking for the next 8 weeks or I'm cutting for the next 6 weeks, because that can wreak havoc mentally for you,
Yeah.
and so I'm at a really good place where I'm just maintaining, and like, 2 days here and there if I want to tighten up a little bit, pull calories back a little bit, it's very small modifications that make a big impact.
And now you're talking about pulling back on calories and stuff like that. When you were competing or now in your modeling life, are you a fan of diets like the keto diet that some people go on, low calorie, like not eating red meat? Like, what's a typical diet if you're, because it's got to be so challenging keeping that model body in shape at all times. And obviously, you can have a cheat meal here and there, but what does a typical diet look for you? Do you take food? I hear a lot of people who are fitness enthusiasts who talk about the food they eat. It's not about the flavor, it's about the nutrients that are getting put in your body. And they almost, the very severe and intense ones view the food they eat as the energy they eat, and they take it for what it is. Is that kind of your mindset, or do you shy
Uh,
away from certain foods or no?
Michael, I'll tell you this: we are all human, and I like to eat good food. I've been through those restrictive diets, and I coach people, on their nutrition, on their fitness. And my advice is the best diet that exists is the one that you can follow and that you enjoy. If you hate your diet, you're not going to last with it. You're going to end up going off the rails at some point. If you're super restrictive, like the keto diet, it serves its purpose, right? But 9 times out of 10, someone comes to me and they're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on a keto diet." I'm like, "That's great. What are you gonna do after the keto diet?" And they're like, and I'm like, "Yeah, like you have to have some sort of balance in your life. If you're gonna go keto for the rest of your life because it helps you feel better, all that stuff, that's great. But you need to know what you're doing in the long term, just to not offset those short term gains that you might get from dieting, and that's really what my outlook is on dieting. Yes, food is a means of nutrients. It's a means of energizing us. It's a means of all of that. But at the same time, like, who doesn't want to ever not eat a piece of pizza again, right? Like
Right.
we all want to eat
Yeah.
pizza.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
there's again, that's my advice, and that's my kind of lifestyle balance that I have, where it's like, look, I'll cook most of my meals, and I'm very healthy cook, all that. But if I'm on set and there's a bag of, I don't know, Fruit Loops, for example, I'm gonna probably eat some Fruit Loops, and then that's
Yeah.
where I have that balance with my life, and it took me a while to get there. I've tried literally every diet to get an understanding. That was so when I talked to someone like, "Oh, I'm vegan," I can actually relate to them for the 1 week that I tried doing it, or "Oh, I'm doing the Mediterranean diet." I'm like, "Oh, like this, that was like this," or intermittent fasting, for example. That's another one that I get all the time. Like, "Oh, I'm thinking about intermittent fasting. Like, you think it's going to help?" I'm like, "Look, all that does is it limits your eating window. It's not magic. It's not like this magic sauce that's going to then turn you into some shredded beast like the poster you have on your wall behind you right now
Rocky
of Sylvester
Balboa.
Stallone."
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't
Right.
think
And
he
I'm
did
like,
intermittent fasting. He's Italian
I don't
stallion.
think
That's not his stuff.
yeah, I don't think he did either. I think he was eating eggs like he did in the movie, exactly, the way it was. But, and that's the thing is, hey, all of this comes down to balance. Balance is the most important thing that you can have in your life, and it starts with nutrition. And if you have a balanced nutrition, balanced diet, then that will help you a lot with your life.
Well, I think that's very informative because I do think that what happens is people jump on the keto diet or intermediate fasting, and they might maybe get excited for a couple weeks. They see the weight drop immediately, after the first week or two, and then it's just not sustainable in the long haul, and then they get discouraged. It affects physical performance, them at the gym, and mental, like you talked about, mental health. It's just important as physical health.
Yeah,
So let's
yeah.
talk
I
about.
mean, to piggyback off that, we just had Halloween yesterday,
Yeah.
and if you're on a ketogenic diet, you couldn't eat a piece of candy. Well, guess what? I want to remember what Milk Duds taste like, or what a Tootsie Roll tastes like. So it's like, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, the best diet is the one that gives you balance that you enjoy.
Yeah, I agree. That was well said. That was well said. I think people like hearing that because sometimes people, I think they get intimidated when you talk about a diet. Do you agree with that? They get intimidated, like, oh, I got to cut down and my lifestyle is going to change so drastically. But it's like, no, enjoy what you eat, but be smart about it. Right.
Absolutely, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I'm saying this coming from someone who is a model, who's in. Again, I can say this about myself. I'm in great shape most of the time. You
Yeah.
know, like listen to whoever's listening right now. Listen to me. You can eat other food, but 90% of the time, you should make healthy choices, and it makes that other food taste better.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the mental health aspect. I kind of wanted to actually piggyback into that. So when you have a job such as yours, as being a model, fitness coach, actor, you are in a very competitive industry, right? I mean, everyone, you got to be in good shape. There's a lot of competition. Taking care of your mental health is so important. How do you think you do that?
Um. So yes, mental health is definitely the one of the most important things. On the fitness side of things, when you make a physical transformation, the mental transformation is actually more important. And having your mental health in check will aid the physical transformation. Being in a competitive industry like the modeling industry and the acting industry and all that, you have to really be in check with yourself mentally. You have to really know who you are and what makes you tick, what your motives are, all of that stuff. Because otherwise, you're going to let the influences of the industry, both positive and negative, affect you. And you can fall in the trap of comparing yourself to other people, or you deal with a lot of rejection in this industry. There's a lot of like, you apply, you get submitted for things, you audition for things, you get called back for things, and you don't get it. And if you're not mentally in check, you're gonna take that, that rejection, and you're gonna like let it crumble your life. It's not like when you apply for a job somewhere, you actually have a better chance of getting it. In this industry, if you apply for a job, quote unquote job, you have a very little chance of getting it. And so I think that being understanding of who you are and mentally where you're at will help you a ton. For me personally, I'm a very positive person. I am very aware of who I am, and I know what the imprint is that I want to leave on this earth. And I think that since I have a lot of that stuff organized, it makes everything I do in this industry that much better.
And you said you know who you are, and that's so important when you talk about self-worth and value, about your mental health. It's that realization of what your beliefs are, what you do, what you enjoy doing. This is a tough question, but how do you think people can, maybe someone's not as confident as you, and how do you think someone whose mental health is maybe not as strong and whose confidence is not as strong, what can they do to improve that?
Yeah. So I'm extremely confident in my abilities. And especially in this industry, if you do not believe in yourself more than anyone else, a casting director or someone, no one, you have to believe in yourself before anyone else is going to. It's pretty much the point I'm trying to get at.
Right.
And you need to believe in yourself more than anyone else. And that will guide you. Because if you don't, someone will see right through you and be like, no, they really don't believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And if you're not confident in yourself, find ways to become more confident in yourself. Like I know as a model, I'm really freaking good at what I do. And being able to say that, being able to own that is a really empowering thing. But if I was like, oh, like I'm kind of good as a model, again, there's there's ways to kind of go about this. I'm not saying like be overly confident in something that you don't know anything about, but if you know you're good at something and you know your value, that will drive you.
Mhm.
So that is a driving factor, is definitely a huge thing, especially if you're in this industry. I can't speak for other industries and all of that, but valuation is huge. What's funny is my background is actually in math, economics, and finance. I have a degree in math and economics. I was supposed to work in finance. And one of the things you learn in that path is valuation metrics to value out companies. You value out stocks, you value out all that stuff. And if you think of yourself as a business, if you think of yourself as a stock, valuing yourself will help you a lot, because you go through a lot of valuation, iterations in this journey.
Interesting. So I know you just talked about a little bit before, talking about there's a difference between being cocky and confident, right? There's a fine balance. You're very confident, but there is people who come across as cocky, and maybe people don't want to hang around them as much. How do you think you find that balance?
Yeah, so I think someone who comes off as cocky, and again, that's up to the interpretation of the viewer, of the other person. Because I'm sure that if you went through my Instagram, or someone popped onto my page, they would probably think that I'm extremely cocky in some ways. I think most people don't think that, but again, whatever people think is what they think. I'm not going to judge them on that. But someone who is usually extremely cocky and comes off as cocky actually has a lot of things that they're insecure about. So cockiness is usually stemmed from insecurities, whereas confidence and knowing what you're good at, and knowing that you actually can put your mind to something if the task is given to you. Like, for example, I'm very athletic. I played hockey, football, and baseball, and a bunch of recreational sports. And I have a sport and stunt agent out here in Los Angeles. And I'm like, look, if it's a sport and it doesn't require some crazy skill, I'm very confident that if I need to audition for it, I can figure it out in a couple hours and take care of it, as long as it's not like an advanced level thing. And that's being confident, because I know what I'm capable of. I believe in myself, all of that. If I was cocky, I'd be like, oh yeah, like, I can, I can fly a plane. I don't, no, I can't.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
there's that fine line between the two.
Right. I agree. So beyond being a model, an actor, fitness coach, I mentioned at the very beginning, you're a social media influencer. And I think that comes from you posting regularly on social media and having a large following. So, but the thing about social media is it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because sometimes it's a blessing because it gives you the opportunity, like we did, like to meet new people, to talk. There's new opportunities, and you can stay up to date with friends and other people. But it's also a curse because sometimes people get in judgment mode, right? They look at someone like you, someone who's very attractive as a male model, someone who maybe has more money, more wealth. Just it's things they want, like, right? You shouldn't be comparing your things to other people. So, do you view social media as more of a blessing, or do you think it's a curse?
I think social media is a blessing for me personally in my life. And social media, like you just kind of alluded to, it gets a really bad reputation. It gets the reputation of, it's toxic. It becomes a judgment zone. X, Y, and Z, everything that's been said poorly about social media. I think social media is an amazing thing because it connects so many of us, and it gives me the ability to connect with people that I have never even met or talked to, and impact their life in a positive way. Now, if I was just posting negative stuff, to be honest, not many people would follow me, but I'm able to leave a positive impact on someone's day. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, to be able to actually make someone's day better, or give them hope or inspiration when you don't even know the person. Because, a lot of things that, successful entrepreneurs and CEOs and stuff talk about is, you become the five people that you surround yourself with. And now in today's culture, you can surround yourself with someone without even knowing who they are because of social media. One of your top five people that you surround yourself with can be your favorite person that you follow on Instagram. and that can have a positive or negative effect on your life. So be very selective in who you follow and whose content you're consuming on social media, because if you're just following someone that every time you see their post you're like, oh, like they think they're so much better than me, or like, oh, I'm never going to be like them, or wow, their body's great, I'm never going to have a body like that, or whatever, like if that's the energy you get from following someone on social media, don't follow them.
Yeah.
Because or get in check with yourself mentally before you consume their content, because otherwise, like, you're just, you're it's like the insanity thing, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If social media makes you unhappy, then you need to check yourself and learn how to make social media either make you happy or don't use it for a while, and then that's, again, it all stems back to having that balance, knowing who you are, knowing how you tick, and that impacts everything that you do. So in my opinion, to answer your question, social media is a very positive thing if you choose to let it be. If you let it be negative, it's going to be negative.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. 100% with what you said. You're optimistic. I would like to say that I'm very optimistic as well. And my mom and dad always told me, man, you're a product of your environment, right? So that doesn't mean that because you're in an environment that's unhealthy means you should get the heck out of that environment. You know what I mean? Surround yourself with the people, the 5 people, like you said, that you want to be like. So,
Yep.
I mean, absolutely. I loved that answer. So,
Yeah.
social media, talked about that, but now you mentioned you were acting. I know some acting projects are a little more on the secretive end right now. The project you're working on right now, can you talk a little bit about it or no?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is definitely my biggest role as an actor, and I've only been acting for about, well, we just hit November 1st. I think I started taking acting classes about a year ago,
Mhm.
like the end of November of last year, which is crazy because I did all of this in 2 years pretty much, and it's just like, I'm working with actors that have been acting since they were 7, or been acting for, been to acting school X, Y, and Z, or and I'm like, what's great is I've put in the work. I've worked with multiple acting coaches. I run so many scenes with friends and actor friends and all of that, and that's helped me establish myself and gain confidence in what I'm doing. Back to confidence. So I've grown as an actor in terms of, I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident I can portray certain things on camera. When I started, I was horrible. It was like, it was terrible, because, for example, modeling has been something that's come very easy for me. And I don't want to say it's come easy for me because it's been a lot of work, but it's come natural for me. Acting was one of those things that wasn't very natural for me at first because acting is a lot of lying. Acting is lying on camera is what you're doing, right? And
Yeah.
I'm a very truthful, honest person, and I'll tell someone how it is. And so I had to kind of learn how to do that. So, anyways, back to your question of what I'm working on now. We're filming a feature film that is I'll say a murder mystery with a romance aspect. It's being shot here in Los Angeles, and we got a great casting crew. I'm the like you alluded to, I'm the male lead in this production, and I'll say a note from the director is I'm the heart of the film. So
Wow. There you go.
there's a lot going on here, and a lot of good to come from this, and it's gonna come out probably some point next year, and I'm excited for everyone to see it all happen.
So how far into production are you right now?
We had about 3.5 weeks of pre-production, and then we've been filming now for 2 weeks, and we got a ways to go. So we're deep into it. We're I would say maybe near the halfway point. I don't know.
So how tough is it right now in COVID? I know I've done just some small, like just as a hobby, like extra work and just, just for fun because I like movies and stuff like that. And I was on one recently where you have to have the masks and everything and the vaccines and they do the daily swab tests and everything like that. Is that what it's like in LA too?
Yeah. Los Angeles is pretty buttoned up. It's testing all the time. I don't think it's a mandate yet. Again, I'm not great at like understanding, knowing what the rules are, but I don't know if it's a mandate yet for you to be vaccinated. But I think like all of us are vaccinated.
Mhm.
I mean, to be honest, out here, I've been on, X amount of sets over the last 2 months, and I'm pretty positive that every time it's like you must be vaccinated to work this project,
Yep.
or if not, you have to test pretty much every day before you get on set. And so
Yeah.
it's like at that point, you might as well just do it. But yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to go. Let's not go political.
Oh no, no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, production, it's changed so much now. And it sucks that while you're getting into it, it's a completely new environment that, Tom Hanks and all these other actors who have been acting for years, this is new for them too, right? Because it's so tough with COVID, just keeping up with the regulations and everything. But yeah, I mean, best of luck to you on this production. I hope,
Thank you.
man, I'll be following you on Instagram and all that, and I want to see the finished product. So hopefully you start
Thank you.
posting about it a little bit more when it gets closer to wrapping up.
Yeah, we will do plenty of buzz when it gets closer to even being brought out to market. There'll be a lot of buzz there, but no, well, one thing you just touched on is COVID kind of changing the environment, right? Uh, and for me, COVID has been a very positive experience, which sounds weird to say, but I've been able to, since a lot of people like didn't like they wrote off last year, and a lot of the beginning of this year they wrote it off, right? And I was able to kind of probably get a lot of jobs that I might not have gotten if there was less, because the pool to choose from became smaller because there was less people trying to work out here in these industries and stuff. So I was able to scoop up some jobs that opened up for me, and I've been working hard. So I think that one of the positives of COVID is that it changed the environment so much that I was able to capitalize on. And for a lot of people, they kind of let it crumble. Again, it comes down to mental things. They let it crumble them, and they chose to write it off. And I think that whatever environment we're in, there's always going to be something that's going to be pulling you away from what you're doing, right? There's always going to be a reason not to do something. And I know that COVID is a very big reason for that. But moving forward, a lot of people are afraid to chase their dreams or afraid to make that jump to the next, thing that they've been wanting to do in their life. And there's never the right time. Well, there's never going to be a right time for anything. And COVID, if anything, has shown you that there's always going to be something there. So keep that in mind when you're moving forward and you're working towards your dreams, that there's never going to be a right time. You just got to do it.
Yeah. Well, I got to be honest, Eric, I was not surprised at all when you said that you saw COVID as something that could be positive to you because of how positive you are and how you take advantage of these opportunities and things like that. I'm not surprised you said that at all. So
No,
I
I
think that just
appreciate
goes to
that.
talk about your character, confidence, and look for blessings. So that's awesome. All right. The
Yeah.
last thing I want to ask you about is right now with your filming, you have that going on, but what are some more current and future goals you have for yourself, whether that's in modeling, fitness coach, acting? Tell me what's the hopes and aspirations here.
So it's funny. I would say I've done about 20 to 25 like interviews over the last year. And I always get the goals and aspirations question of, what your hopes are and all of that. And I love that question because a lot of my goals and aspirations have been to just keep enjoying this process and letting the journey guide me, and almost like giving myself to the journey to let it guide me. I don't have like a wife or kids or a family, or I mean I have like family that mom and dad and brother,
Yeah,
but like I don't have a
yeah,
family I have to take care of. I have a lot of freedom in my life, and that gives me the ability to let the journey guide me. You know what I mean? And obviously my goals are to keep letting this journey impact me in a positive way and let it help me grow as an individual in my career as a model, actor, all of that stuff. uh but to be honest, the more that I just enjoy this journey and let that take me, as opposed to trying to like carve it in a very specific way, it's been more helpful that way. Like I think that some people, they're like, all right, I'm gonna act and I'm only gonna act, and that is my goal. I'm gonna become this level actor within the next 3 years. And if you put yourself in that box, you might then say no to directing, you might say no to modeling, you might say no to some opportunities that come your way because you put yourself in such a finite box that you didn't allow room for expansion. So for me, I really don't know where this is going. I don't know where this journey is taking me. I know that it's only taken me to positive places, because obviously I don't say yes to everything, but I've been very selective in what I have hopped on for opportunities. But I know that in the future, this is only going to guide me in a positive way. And knowing that deep down internally helps me with every day of this, journey just being better and better than what it is. So yeah, long-winded answer for saying I don't know.
Well, just enjoy the process, Eric, man. Everything's going well, so just keep it going, right?
Exactly. Yes.
All right. So the last thing I like to do with these interviews is what I call 7 quick questions. There's 7 short answer questions that could be related to you as a model, fitness coach, actor, or it could be completely unrelated. Is that cool?
Okay. Let's light it up.
All right. What is your favorite movie?
Miracle.
Okay.
It's a hockey movie about the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team.
Yeah. I've seen it once, but it was a while ago. So maybe I'll give it a watch this week, maybe.
Yeah.
If you could model with any company, which model company would you like to model for?
I would love to do a campaign for Calvin Klein. I started a lot of this in underwear modeling, and Calvin Klein has been the most prestigious underwear company, and it's what I wear most of the time anyways. So I would love to actually do a full-on campaign for them, and that would be, or for their fragrances, either or. Yeah, Calvin Klein.
That'd be awesome. That's a real deal right there. I hope it happens for you, man.
Yeah, it will. Fingers crossed.
So you talked about hockey. I wanted to ask, what is your favorite sport? Would that be hockey?
My favorite sport to play is hockey. My favorite sport to watch is football. I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts, or just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. So I'm a huge Red Sox, Patriots, Bruins, Celtics fan. So yeah, let's go Pats.
All right, what do we think about Mac Jones?
Oh, Mac Jones is great. Oh my God. We just won yesterday against
Chargers.
The Chargers, and we've had a lot of close games, and to be honest, our record could be 7-1 versus 4-4. But the best part about Mac Jones, a quarterback, is we have a lot of promise and a lot of, future to look forward to, as opposed to just looking season to season.
Yeah. All right. So when you talk about with your diet, you're talking about, overall having that balance. But if you're having a cheat meal, right, just unhealthy food, what's your go-to favorite unhealthy food?
Pancakes. Oh my God, I love pancakes. Pancakes is like, what's funny is like if people ask me sweet or savory, my answer is savory. Like I love I love Vietnamese food. I love Thai food. I love Korean barbecue. I love, pizza. I'm Italian as well, so I love all that stuff. But my go-to cheat meal is pancakes. IHOP pancakes.
Awesome. If you could travel back in time to any point, where would you like to go?
This is a good question. Traveling back in time.
Or you know what? Let's change it. Would you rather go to the past or would you like to see the future?
I should have prepared for this question.
No, you're good. You're good. There's options though. There's options because you don't want it to be like Back to the Future. You go in the future, then you do some sports betting and everything goes wrong, like Marty McFly.
Right. Oh, it was funny. As I said, a Halloween party, and one of my friends and his girlfriend, they dressed as Back to the Future, like Marty McFly, and they looked great. Their costumes were awesome. But so if I was gonna pick a time, no, let's go back to sports. I'm looking at the Patriots jersey hanging on my wall right now. I would love to go back to 2002, I guess. St. Louis Rams at the time versus New England. I'd love to be at that Super Bowl where Tom won his first, and that happened. I think that was the day before my birthday. My birthday is February 4th, and so I think it was February 3rd, 2002. I'd love to go back to that, be at the stadium with my family and loved ones, and that was such an iconic moment. So yeah.
Is that Tom Brady jersey? Is that the one that's on your wall, or who do you got on your wall?
What's funny is I actually have a Malcolm Butler jersey on my wall.
That's the interception there.
Of course, that was Super Bowl 49, but I have a Brady jersey in my closet over there as well.
What jersey are you wearing on game day?
I've been wearing my Butler jersey recently. I wore a Tom jersey when we played the Bucks
There
and
you go.
lost, but because either outcome, I'm still a Patriots fan. I get that question all the time. They're like, oh, like now that Tom has moved on to Tampa, are you like a Tampa fan? I'm like, no, no, no. I want Tom to do well. I love Tom, but I'm a
Yeah.
Patriots fan. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's a tough environment there, man. They were selling those tickets for that game. Some of those tickets were more expensive than the Super Bowl this year. It's insane.
Crazy, man. Yeah, I even talked to my brother and my dad about flying back for it, and even just nosebleed seats were like 1,500. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, my last question. If you could work with any actor or an actress in a movie, who would you like to work with?
I've had a huge crush on Jennifer Aniston like my entire life. Being a huge Friends fan and all the movies that she's done. So I would love to work alongside her in a film or a TV show or a TikTok. I don't care. That
Or
would be
rom-com, maybe.
or a rom com, right? Yeah, I mean, that would be. She's aged like fine wine. So I'll say Jennifer Aniston would be my answer for
All
that.
right. I like it. I respect it. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for talking to me, man. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot about you, about your mindset, your fitness goals, modeling goals, everything like that. So it was fun. I appreciate it very much. I want to say that you can be found on Instagram at ET Fitness Coach. Where else can people find you and stay up to date with what's going on in your life?
Yeah, they can find me. So the same tag is for Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. It's actually my website as well as etfitnesscoach.com. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you'll see me somewhere in some way, shape, and form on some device. So stay tuned, and to everyone listening, thanks for taking the time to listen to me tell little intricacies of my life, and hopefully you found something positive in this. And Michael, thank you for having me on. You're great. You handled this in a very professional way, which I appreciate. And I mean, you even reached out to me on Cameo, which like shows your level of professionalism. So thank you for being a great person to talk to and get to meet and spend time with on my Monday morning.
I appreciate it so much, man. Thank you so much.